On today's show, we have a very special guest, Pablo Stanley, co founder of many wonderful things like Blush, my favorite Open Peeps, and two AI based design tools, Musho and Lumi. Has AI made everyone a designer? Will we know by the end of this episode? Maybe. I'm Michelle Chin, a design advocate at zeroheight and the design system management platform, or it's the design system management platform, and this is Design Systems WTF. So, wanted to kick things off. Thank you so much, Pablo, for joining us today. We are quite excited to have you here. And before we really jump into the conversation about AI and designers, please tell us a little bit about Musho and Lumi.
Uh, yeah, well, Mucho is a tool, currently is a Figma plugin with which you can create a lot of different things using AI. You can create landing pages and even social media posts. Uh, you can also even use your own designs and just like fill them up like in like as templates and fill the content with AI. So yeah, it's just like a little tool with that allows people to use AI inside Figma. And now that I don't know if they have turned it on again, but I know that they have the create design button that they introduced in config. Well, I know that they turned it off. I don't know if it's turned on again, but it's kind of like that. But it was before Figma, so we were the OGs. But like any other third-party application, sometimes you're designing for for the bigger companies who will just like do the things natively. So that's Mucho, and now we're expanding Mucho to make a web app, so we're not depending on third-party applications. And also Lumi, and Lumi is it's just like stock photography. Right now, it's just stock photo, but we're expanding to stock illustration and a stock video and a stock music and sound effects, all created with AI by different AI creators. I call them AI artists, but sometimes it's kind of controversial. Call them AI artists. It's not an artist if you use AI. So AI makers, let's call them. uh, and yeah, and that's just a free tool that anyone can use for their tools. And I don't know, it's more than anything is the value of Lumi is the curation uh, because it's curated by different people. So all the images that you find there, we can kind of guarantee that they're good. Like because there's a lot of us humans actually removing the stuff that is not the cheesy or that is cringy or that is that has six fingers in each hand. So, so like we get rid of all that stuff, so you get a really nice photo that you can use on your stuff.
Yeah, I noticed that because when I was looking at Lumi and the process of being one of the AI creators, you have to submit an AI portfolio. Um, and I thought
Oh
that was
yeah,
really interesting just because you can create a lot of random, weird, cringy stuff in AI.
yeah, and it's the models can get some can get a little bit weird, and and Lumi, I mean, the value it offers is that it has a point of view, and it's like, hey, this is uh, we curate these photos, and even the from the creators that we bring, sometimes we remove their photos. They get mad at us. They're like, ah, dude, it's not cool. It's not a cool photo. Come on, let's remove it. Yeah, it's a while the images are made with AI, there's really humans actually even fixing them. Like I will get in the photos and I would just expand them just to add some because like as designers, whenever we're designing, we want to use the photo, but we need like the white space that it still has the photo, so we can put all of our crap on it, or CTAs and our buttons, but we need a simple background, right, to put all that stuff. And sometimes the photos will be cropped in a way that you cannot use them unless you want to put all of your CTAs on top of people's faces. You don't want to do that, so you end up not using those photos. So like I, we manually end up like actually adding those things so designers can use them on their creations. So it's photos, it's stock photos made by designers, pretty much.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
And I've played with Mucho, and it's really cool and kind of scary, I think. Like it's like I'm like I was very impressed about like quickly it can generate, a landing page, and um that was really cool. But then I was just like, this might be too good, right? Like it just suddenly you're just like, wait a second. This used to take me like hours or days or a week, right? After like refining and deciding. But like a lot of the stuff like colors, typography, and like you can definitely change a lot of that. But like from the start, it just made it and you have a very good starting point. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah.
we're actually like we're looking into adding a feature that reduces a lot of those decisions that are made. So it's more like it presents you with unstyled typography and unstyled stuff. It's just black and white grays. So you can put your own. It's more like wireframe mode. So you can put your own things, but the content still like using LLMs to just like get you started. But with all the basic layouts that you might even do anyway. So it's like, hey, well,
Yeah.
this gets you started and just like allows you to do a bunch of them quickly and then pick and choose the ones that you like, right? So yeah, it's well, I don't know. That's a compliment for me. Just like that is scary good. It says I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
like it.
definitely scary good. Yeah. I guess I'm really curious about like what was your inspiration for creating these AI tools?
Yeah, well, I don't know if inspiration, but it's more like everything starts. I have this thing. Have you ever heard of SOS, the shiny object syndrome, where like you see a shiny object and you go chasing it because it's so shiny. So I think I have I, that fault. I have that problem. So I don't know. Like curiosity always brings me into like trying new things, and I try to bring others to just like, hey, this looks exciting. Come on, let's go build something with that thing. And actually, we've been trying to use AI for a while. Like you mentioned Blush in the beginning,
Mhm.
uh, and that we started that in 2020, and ever since, I actually like started playing around with. Well, back then it's AI, but it was really. I mean, everything that we see right now is a lot of them is AI is maybe not the best term for that. And actually, but like 4 years ago, I would say that we were using better terms like ML, like machine learning and GANs and diffusion models. But now we just call everything just the AI. So I like to call them the little robots. But anyway, like back then, even then, I was trying just to use generative adversarial networks. Is that what you call it? The GANs. And this is just like a way to create images with two agents. And one agent is like the police, and one is the artist. It's like, what is the creative director? Let's call it the creative director who's telling you, go do the thing. But it doesn't tell you what thing. It's just like do the thing, and then this other dude that is the artist is like, well, I'm just gonna start putting stuff on the wall, just like drawing things until suddenly the creative director of the little robot tells her like, "Ooh, I like that," or not. So I was using that kind of stuff. Those are GANs, they're called, but it was not good. It was like, all the images that it would generate. I mean, it's easy to forget like how fast this has evolved, because like even just 3 years, 4 years ago, like all of these things, the images that we're creating, it's just like were not great. They were pretty bad. And that actually gave us this I guess that comfort thinking that it's like, AI sucks, it's never gonna get good, you know Uh,
Yeah.
but then suddenly, like, oh my god, yeah, he's really good. Oh my god, I
Yeah.
am, I am not,
Yeah.
I am going to be replaced. And now we have this conversation. But we this thing is old news. All of these things have been going on for a while. It's just like they the awareness, the tools were not as democratized, and they were not. There was no ChatGPT that allowed people to just like type their stupid questions and get like really smart
Yeah.
answers.
Yeah. And even like I guess like November-ish 2022 when ChatGPT kind of got made like, started making the rounds in the public, like I felt like when I was using it, it was very novel. Like it was a novelty. It was like for fun. Like, let me see
Yeah,
if it can tell me some jokes or make a pun or something. But like now it's like I use it in my day-to-day work to actually do legit work, right? So I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that's the
yeah, yeah.
thing is you know, while it's been around, it was always kind of treated as like something as like a fun thing to play with, but not serious. And I think that's kind of where when I use Musha, I was just like, oh, this is like legit kind of scary, right? So, um, I guess like, yeah, so you mentioned democratization, and this could make it very easy for everyone and anyone to create designs. Do you feel that designers need to be concerned about anything when it comes to like, plugins and tools like yours or just AI in general?
uh yes and no. I think like with any tool, I would say like if it is a tool uh that is being very well used and is being very well accepted by the public, then you should learn how to use it and you should use it in your advantage. So if you're not using AI, as you were saying, where it's like suddenly it becomes part of your workflow, then you're lagging behind. I mean, unless you are you're going to sell yourself as 100% organic, totally human-made designs, and maybe you find a niche of people who are like looking for that, amongst all the noise, then maybe yeah. But I think it's like with any other tool. If you're not learning the tools that are being accepted by the market, then you're going to be left behind. The thing is that AI just gotten so good so fast. That's the thing. So I can totally see the concerns from people where like, oh, this thing is going to replace me. Uh, but I don't know. Like I understand the thinking behind that, but for me, I'm a I'm an optimist. I'm a techno optimist. So uh, I see it as actually as one of the coolest things ever. Is like the best thing that could have happened to us. It just like helps us generate ideas, layouts. Like we were just saying, what with Mucho, it just like creates the whole thing for me. Just like, hey, really quickly create something, and then I can create it again, and I can just like iterate really quickly something until like I can perfect it. So I I know that it's going to be for some people and companies actually it might take a while to adapt, and just it's a big shift that is happening really quickly. So there's going to be a little bit of I don't know, noise in the beginning. It's already happening, but I don't know. Like no, we're not going to get replaced. The human touch is not going to. I don't know. Has anyone actually used these things? They're not that good. I don't know. They're okay. They're good. But it's it's almost like a lot of the stuff is really cheesy and really predictable and really cookie cutter stuff. And if anything, like now it's it's made it really easy to just like get a base, and then from there add your own finessing and your own quirky things and your own, I don't know, ideas, to just making something more yours. uh, i I see like creations. Let's say that let's almost like on the creation of movies, right, where it's like pre-production, production, and post-production. And the design process has something like this too, where it's like the pre-production will be like all the strategy, ideation, all that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
discovery
You're
and
just
research.
yeah, all the planning, right? And then, well, the production is the actual designing and putting the stuff in a prototype or in something that feels more real. And then you have that post-production that a film will be adding the effects and making the sound look nice, that sound nice and all that stuff, right? And I think that in product development, we take a lot of time on the middle part, on the production part. And that takes us a long time. And sometimes even just the first part, the strategy part. And the finessing, the last part, you have to ship it. And it's like, oh, but the font, I didn't get to try the new font and I didn't get to do this. And the UX copy is not great. The flow feels kind of janky. And you have to ship it. The deadline is now, and you didn't have time to do that stuff. I feel like now we have way more time to do that stuff. Now we have time to like try a lot of things, and just like the production part, like has actually like gone down, like the time that you need to spend on that, and then suddenly you have a lot of time on all the finessing. That's how I see it, and it's not a it has the tools are really good at just like getting rid of all the repetitive tasks and all the things that are uh, things that you were going to do anyway, but that like traditionally take you a long time. Which whereas like, oh, let's do a mood board. And then suddenly you spend a week doing a mood board. And it's like this thing just like that. It can create a
Yeah.
lot of different things for inspiration and just put them there. Even mucho the tool, you can use those things as just inspiration. It's like, oh, look at all these things that I could do. So this thing is really good at just like spitting crap at you, so you can then spend all of that time in which you start picking and choosing the things that you really like. So I don't know. I feel like it has actually helped us speed up a lot of stuff, and also I think it's allowing us designers, crafters, pixel pushers to uh, put more time on the little things that we really care about. Well, some of us, I guess, or
Yeah.
not. Maybe no.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like, hey, instead of a week, now it takes you 2 days, and now you have three
Yeah.
days for yourself. Go out there, get
But
some ice cream, go to the park.
yeah, I think that's the way, like, I think I would love it if if you can finish your work early, right? And then enjoy the rest of your time, because, it's not to finish your work early so then you can then do more work. Um, and I think that's the same thing as, like, the AI tools are production helpers almost, kind of like design systems. You have a design system,
Hmm.
so you don't have to create things over and over again, and then you can spend time on innovations or finessing and
Yeah.
stuff. um, I guess, like, my one question is that, so I feel like, as a very seasoned designer, like, I'm and like, having had a lot of experience doing a lot of the production work and coming up with all the wireframes, like, it's a lot of, like, I don't want to say busy work. It's like work that you have to do, right?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of tired of doing it. So, like, these AI tools, when they do it, right, like, it's kind of, they do all the heavy lifting, which is
Yeah.
great. But I wonder, like, do you have any guidance or advice or something that entry level designers need to think about while they're, still learning the process and getting experience of understanding, like, wireframes or mockups and mood boards, like, what's their balance of, or is there a balance, or should they, like, totally lean into the AI tools to do a lot of that heavy lifting? What's your
Uh,
perspective on that?
it's somebody told me about this, where it's like, you know about the Dunning Kruger effect. The Dunning Kruger effect is this: you start thinking that you know it all, but then you realize the complexity of something, and then but you think in the beginning you don't know nothing at all, but your confidence level is at its highest. And once you realize that you don't know anything, and that the thing that you're trying to do is actually more complex, in this case design, hey, color palettes and typography and understanding the user and user experience, it's very complex, right? Suddenly well, you realize like, oh, this the designing things is not just playing around with Microsoft Paint. You know, this is a little bit more complex than that. But AI suddenly like has allowed us to never realize the complexity of stuff. Now suddenly we reach that level of we know just a little bit, and we never get to see the complexity of something because like AI suddenly can take care of that complexity. So the Dunning Kruger, instead of doing this, you know, like
Yeah.
suddenly the Dunning Kruger, you stay on top, you know, with that confidence level all the way up, and then suddenly you start actually doing stuff with these things. So it's obviously knowing what you uh, 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 these AI stuff, these AI things don't work just by themselves. They need good guidance. They need prompting is like those who are doing better stuff are the ones who know what to ask the little robots, you know. And if you don't know what to ask this thing, then it's going to give you crap, you know. But if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are
for
very
sure.
detailed and to be very detailed and have that sensibility about like what you need, and you need some knowledge, you know, about what to ask from these things. It's like, hey, I need this specific pattern. I need this specific type of flow. I need this specific type of color palette. Even just saying be inspired by X and Y, even just saying that, having that knowledge like helps. So you could just like go in and just ask the little robots to do make me a design, and it will just it's almost like going to a very quick fiber, you know. It's just like going to fiber and suddenly in seconds you have your thing, but it's giving you fiber level designs. It's so it's just like making it faster and cheaper, and now it's not fiber, it's fiber cents maybe. uh but but the quality, and to get good output from these things, you need to know what to ask from them. And so I don't know. So yeah, it is really important to know what to ask these little robots, because if not, they have their biases, they have their uh, they're very repetitive. They would just like always, they're kind of lazy, you know. They just always want to do the same. They will always just repeat the same output unless you're very specific about what you want. So if you're very specific, and if you are careful enough about, and you have, hey, that sensibility, those skills that maybe you have gathered over the years of just like learning the craft, then you're going to know how to like handle these things. Because like using AI feels a lot like being a creative director. And
Yeah, yeah,
creative directors don't get to creative directors just like that, you know. You have to have a lot of experience to get to that level, because you get to that level and you know what to ask all the
yeah. You need
minion
those like
designers.
foundations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would say, hey, if you want crappy level stuff, yeah, you can get in these tools, and they will give you crappy level stuff, and like, or at least starting level stuff. And for a
yeah,
lot of
like
people that's enough, you
yeah,
know. And for a lot of people historically, even before AI, they had been okay with doing stuff with fiber, you know. And this is not a new thing in a way. Like seeing designers like offering like cookie cutter logos and look cookie cutter solutions has been a thing happening way before AI. and and we were already like in fear of like losing our jobs
to
to these
fiber.
kinds of designs. Yeah, and it's like, but that didn't happen. No, if anything, suddenly people start appreciating more the I don't know, the that careful craft that designers will have. So I I don't know. Maybe again, I'm a techno optimist. I understand like, hey, but this is different, Pablo. Eh, yeah, I know. It's more like the same stuff, just on steroids.
Yeah, and I think, you brought up a lot of good points. Like you still need to have those like foundational aspects to create, like to you know like write the right prompts to get the right quality of output.
Yeah.
I think people can probably cheat their way a little bit, but you can't get very far in the long run. Like you're gonna get Fiverr quality work if you just try to
Yeah.
shortcut the
Hey,
process.
nothing
So
against Fiverr, by the way. Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure that there must be amazing stuff there, and uh, what- it's kind of a meme, right? Where for designers, like, oh, you
Yeah.
went to Fiverr, you didn't get real design. That's what I'm trying to get at, and I think using AI, just getting like the default output that it gives you, you're going to get crappy results, and that's what I'm trying to get at. And you need someone who knows how to use these things, at least for now. Unless later there's going to be a robot who starts like knowing how to use these things, and then yeah, we'll be uh, we won't be needed at all.
We can check
We're so,
in another future episode.
yeah, I mean, we're already starting to see a lot of this stuff with automated agents, where like even the things that, like, it's almost like traditionally, like, there's always like a human making the decision or asking the little robots to do something, and then yeah, the little robots are amazing at doing that stuff, but there has to be an input from a human, and there has to be uh, a human at the end deciding what is good and what is bad. But I have seen some efforts into just like even removing the human from that part, and like having automated processes. So we'll see. Like, it's not. Maybe I'm being. I'm also uh, just like not understanding how good these things are, and I'm not being as realist of how dangerous these things can be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to keep up. It's hard to predict, and also things are moving so rapidly. So it's almost like we want some time to give it some thought, but maybe we don't get that opportunity. I don't know. It's all very interesting, and yeah, we'll have to see how things go. I know we're at time, and I just want to be mindful of your time. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your thoughts around AI, talking a little bit about how you were inspired by creating these tools and what you have done with thinking about how these tools work. It's been really interesting. I think it would be really great to see what the future holds for AI and design. Maybe we come back in another episode to see if we were right or wrong, or if things completely flipped on their head. But thank you so much for joining us, Pablo.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, and I'm sure that that episode will have to be like in 2 weeks with how fast these things are. Yeah, I'll see you in 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
and we can evaluate how wrong I was with my predictions.
Great. Thank you again. Thank you so much. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, we'll be back again. It was really awesome to have you, Pablo. And everyone, enjoy your day. All right. Take care, everyone.